TNA and NXT are they're together now.
Intertwining, bruh.
They're dating.
They're kissing now, bruh.
They're kissing very much. And honest to God, I cannot tell you how much I love this. Like, I am so excited.
I saw Cora Jade came out on TNA. Interesting to see that.
They also had a Fraxium come out during the tag team championship match with the Hardys and the Rascals.
That's gonna be interesting to see.
So that was really exciting. Like, bro, so that was the first one. Cora Jade came out later in the show. I believe they had Ashanti the Adonis on the pre-show. I was not tuned in during the pre-show. I tuned in during the actual pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
But so the first NXT appearance that happened during the show itself was Fraxium during the tag team match. And, like, dude, I legit, like, I jumped out of my chair. I was so excited. I popped hard. And part of it was, yes, like, I love Fraxium. I think that they're one of the best fucking tag teams on planet Earth right now in all of professional wrestling.
You like Axiom as a wrestler?
I think Axiom and Nathan Frazier are both fucking elite. I just think that they're a phenomenal tag team. Like, they just...
understand each other.
They are so fun to watch. And so that was definitely part of the pop. But then, honestly, a huge part of it was just like, holy shit, this is really happening. Like, obviously, the press release for the whole deal had come out a few days earlier, but seeing them come out during the show, like, that was the moment where I was like, wow.
It's a big TNA pay-per-view and
This
shit,
exactly, like, a huge moment for professional wrestling where these promotions are finally working together with one another. And so I am just...
One thing I had, like, to personally ask you is, like, bro, this is interesting because, like, is this a defeat for TNA? Because I remember they were, like, kind of at war with WWE for a minute and shit.
So I think that the only reason there was ever a perception of that...
Because I feel like this is more like a peaceful agreement compared to, like, a takeover from, like, what Vince did with WCW and shit like that.
No, 100%. I think this is very different from what was happening with WCW or ECW back in the day. I think that this is... So to answer your first question about TNA being a competitor, I think that was only ever a perception thing because of WWE's creative being at low points. So when the creative in WWE was, like, really bad... that would be the times where people would be like, oh, but, like, I'm gonna just go watch AJ Styles and Samoa Joe and fucking TNA. Like, I'm just gonna go watch that shit instead. Fuck this WWE shit. But the numbers never were, like, fully... Like, TNA, I don't think was ever a serious competitor to WWE.
It was part of wrestlers' promos. You remember fucking John Cena's promo when he fucking told Vince after the CM Punk match, he's like, oh...
I could go make an impact. Yeah. Well, yes, but I think that was... Again, I think that was more of a perception thing where, like, the smarks at the time that understood what that line meant... Those were the people that were flocking to TNA because a lot of the creative at WWE was trash at the time, and so they were watching Jeff Hardy and Kurt Angle and all these guys at TNA instead. And so I feel like that line was for that. Like, I feel like the TNA crowd that was watching it back in the day is the same people that are, like, the diehard AEW fans of today. Yeah. Like, the diehard wrestling fans, which, yes, that is a fairly significant crowd. But again, when we're talking about the numbers overall, I don't think TNA was ever like a serious competitor.
Because everything I've seen when TNA has like had guest appearances in WWE, it's always been positive compared to like probably before. We'll probably get like booed or some shit like that.
And yeah, I feel like it's a positive deal overall for both companies. Like you're saying, is it like negative for TNA? I don't think so at all, because it's gonna give a huge platform for their talent to get over, and then that just attracts more fans to TNA. Can I be real with you? The only reason why I watched Genesis this last weekend was because I had seen Joe Hendry on NXT and seen Jordan Grace on NXT, and like, oh, okay, like
they're gonna wrestle.
These are some of these bigger talents that I've seen in NXT. They were interesting. I feel like I might enjoy seeing more of them on TNA. And so then I start tuning into some of that shit, and then you start to get more interested in these wrestlers. So, like if we're just being real, the weekly crowd of NXT that watches the show is larger than what's watching Impact on a weekly basis. And so I feel like it's going to get more eyes on TNA talent, which is going to draw more eyes to TNA shows. And I'm expecting to see a lot of crossover matches and stuff where, you know, you've got NXT titles being defended on TNA pay-per-views. And I think you're going to have TNA titles being defended on NXT PLEs. And I think
hard.
It's... Exactly. Like, to me, like, as a kid who just grew up loving wrestling, and when you're young, like, you don't understand the business side of anything. Like, I just wished when I was a kid and I was watching Jeff Hardy videos on YouTube, seeing him in WWE, and the only place I could actually see him on TV was in TNA.
Mm-hmm.
When I was like a 10, 11-year-old kid, it's like, fuck, like, I just wish Jeff Hardy could do some wrestling in WWE with those guys. Like, that'd be cool.
The forbidden door,
Exactly. And so all of that stuff kind of being opened up as a fan, I'm just fucking extremely excited, dude.
Now somehow Jeff Hardy's part of WWE somehow now.
Exactly, like, bro, we could see the Hardys appearing again through NXT. Obviously, I don't know if it's gonna be main roster stuff, but we could see that shit again on NXT. Stuff like that is gonna be super, super exciting, and it's, I don't know, man. I just think it's overall so good for the wrestling industry, and I hope that we continue to see more stuff like this. Like, I don't know how possible it is, but one day down the line, I would love to see All Elite Wrestling working with WWE. I don't know if that's possible.
You're tripping, big dude.
But dude, just like the matches we could get, like, see, I'm just at heart, I'm just a fan at the end of the day.
That one's impossible, big dude.
And so I get it, like, yeah, there's all that other business shit behind it. Unless one takes
over and the other one, then no, bro.
But, like, dude, imagine how fun.
That'll be fire, but, like, no.
I get it.
No.
I get it. No. I'm simply throwing it out there to say I am very appreciative of TNA and NXT, WWE for being willing to make a deal like this.
TNA, yeah.
Because as wrestling fans, this is the type of shit that I love to see, man. Like, more awesome wrestling. Yes, please.
More opportunities.
That's all I want to see.
Fucking solid ass matches and shit.
That's all I want to see at the end of the day is fun wrestling. That's what we're all here for. What do you turn on the TV on Mondays and Fridays for?
Fucking wrestling.
Do you want it to be fun?
Yeah.
Well, then let's just do more of that. I think that's a great idea. Now there's even more fun wrestling on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
More reason to watch fucking NXT.
Exactly. For more casual fans that maybe haven't tuned in as much to NXT, it could be a reason for people to start tuning in more.
And a fan like us to start watching more TNA.
Exactly. It's not like I'm a consistent TNA viewer. I watch Genesis because it's a big pay-per-view, but I don't watch the shows weekly, but this is something that could at least have me keeping up with it more on a regular basis. So, yeah, I think it's a win all around for all promotions.
You know?
I'm excited to see what comes going forward. But, yeah, bro. Shit's gonna be crazy. I wanted to touch on a bit of, like, kind of going off of that, what happened at Genesis. Just some of the fun stuff that I saw as someone who doesn't regularly watch TNA. I'm really excited to see the future of Jordan Grace.
How did you feel like the quality of it, honestly, to watch?
Okay, so just to touch on the overall, I mean, obviously different to WWE, but, like, I've watched AEW pay-per-views and stuff in the past, and other, like, I'm not live, but I've gone back and watched different indie shows and, like, ROH stuff like that. So, I mean, I'm used to a little bit more simplified presentation, but honestly, this show had a bit more of the, like, sports entertainment type of stuff that you'd expect at a WWE PLE. And I mean, honestly, my whole thing is, like, I don't want to be one of those wrestling fans on the internet that's, like, trying to dissect every single detail and, like, looking for something to hate. I want to be entertained. Like, I go into these types of shows with a positive mindset of, like, I want to have fun. And so for me, I had a great time throughout the whole show. Like, there were some matches, that the pacing was a bit slow and certain stuff. Like, I've seen some criticism online of different things that, like, is fair. But for me, personally, like, I was entertained throughout the whole show. I was introduced to some really cool wrestlers, and just overall, I thought
interesting storylines.
Yeah, like, I'm think that TNA, from what I saw in that pay-per-view, is in a really good spot. And it seems like with everything going on with NXT as well, that the future for TNA is very bright, which I think could only mean good things for the professional wrestling business as a whole. Like I was saying right now, there was a lot of people that caught my attention. Like I said, Jordan Grace, who's going to be, it seems like from reading all the tea leaves and everything I'm seeing online, is going to be a WWE wrestler fairly soon. It seems like that should be coming, hopefully, potentially at the Rumble, who knows, but she definitely caught my attention as someone that could shake up the women's division a bit and have a lot of really interesting feuds and matches. Just her style being so physical, being so strong, like with the women's division being the way it is right now, with people like Rhea and Jade and stuff like that, like
counters to that shit.
Bianca, yeah, like there's a lot of powerhouse woman in the women's division that I think could really put on some really good matches and good feuds with her. So I'm excited to see more of that. There was a wild, like, street fight kind of thing with Masha Slamovich and a wrestler named Rosemary. So I'm familiar with Masha Slamovich a bit. I didn't know who Rosemary was coming into the show, but...
What the fuck is Masha Slamovich? No offense.
So she is the TNA Knockouts champion, which is like the head woman's title over there. I think the first time I was introduced to her was actually Fourth Rope. Okay. The West Side Gun shows that he puts on. She was involved in one of the shows over there recently, but yeah, she's the TNA Knockouts champion over there. And I know that she was like a pretty physical wrestler just from the match I had seen her in. And yeah, like her being involved, it wasn't a street fight, but it was some weird, like there was weapons everywhere. There was a lot going on. It was fucking
Sounds
crazy.
Like TNA.
One of the first spots that happened was her using a staple gun to put a staple in the armpit of her opponent.
That's wild.
She was like trying to get out of something else, and she put the staple gun right here and pulled that bitch. I was like,
no way.
What the fuck? Like, nah, bro, that shit was gnarly, bro. That shit was fucking crazy. That was a wild match.
Wow.
That was a wild match.
I need to for sure watch that shit back, bro.
I would say that was one that's worth watching just because it was a wild, hardcore match. And Masha is someone that has been rumored and potentially gonna be appearing in this year's Royal Rumble because she is the Knockouts champion, which is something that has, like, a decent amount of history in WWE. When Jordan Grace made her first appearance in the Royal Rumble last year, she was the Knockouts champion.
And especially after this agreement now.
Exactly. So I feel like there's a good chance that we might see her at the Royal Rumble, so that'll be super exciting.
Especially since it's a 40. I don't know if you've seen the announcement, but it's a 40-man now. You know, it's a 40-man Rumble now.
This year?
No. It's a 40-man Rumble. You for real don't know?
I haven't seen anything about this. I can't see anything on here about this.
They literally announced that shit. That's just gonna be a 40-man Rumble, bro.
Dog, there's nothing online about it.
What did you look up?
Royal Rumble 40-man 2025. No, dude. I don't see anything on here. Where did you see this?
Bro, I swear to God, I saw it on Instagram.
Bro, that's not a good source.
I know.
Because I could post on Instagram that it's going to have 69,420 people.
Look up Royal Rumble 2025 right there on WWE. See what the fuck it says, bro.
The following superstars have declared for this year's 30-man Royal Rumble match.
Fuck, man.
It's okay. You got by Instagram.
Misinformed.
You got by Instagram.
Misinformed,
It happens to the best of us, man.
Misinformed, yeah.
You got by Instagram. Just make sure next time you click on that profile and see, are they verified? Who are they? Are they legitimate? It's okay. Happens to the best of us.
Wow.
But no 40 mans, unfortunately. But this would be the time to pull it out since they got all these people to do it. But I'm just excited. I'm excited to see how it integrates. But the only other shit I really wanted to cover from Genesis, just something I wanted to touch on quickly, was the main event, that match with Joe Hendry and Nick Nemeth. God damn, man. God damn. I haven't seen a full start to finish Nick Nemeth match, honestly, probably since he was in WWE.
I can imagine.
Like, and it just was so wild to see, like, he is still that good. Like, I've seen some clips here and there online, but that was a
solid ass match.
Honestly, man, more than solid. I thought it was a truly phenomenal.
How much stars would you give it?
I would give it 5.
A 5-star match? That's crazy.
As a one-on-one wrestling match, no interference, no shenanigans, no sports entertainment, just two dudes wrestling. That was phenomenal grabs from both members of the match. But Nick Nemeth has always been, ever since he was known as Dolph Ziggler back when I was a kid, he has just always been one of the very best at selling, and like not just selling, but making their opponent truly look like an absolute stud. Like, he just gets it, man. Like, I don't know, man. It was such an enjoyable match. And Joe Hendry as well, to his credit, he truly does have, like, the it factor as far as the charisma
and the memes,
the crowd control. See, it's more than just that. Like, yes, the memes are a big part of it. I think that's what gets his name spread around the internet so much. But in that match, if you're, like, breaking it down, like, every single moment of that match...
You think he showed he can wrestle?
It's not just that. Can I tell you what's even more important than that? Because some of the greatest of all time in this promotion right here in particular, they aren't the best in ring.
Mm-hmm.
John Cena's my GOAT. He's not the best technical wrestler. He's not in the top fucking, like, probably not in the top 50, top 100.
Because he doesn't have to be, though.
He doesn't have to be. Joe Hendry is a really great technical wrestler. Don't get me wrong. This isn't me trying to say he can't. He has grabs.
Damn, he's
but there's something there's something that's more important than just grabs. Crowd control. Joe Hendry had that entire arena in Dallas, Texas in the palm of his fucking hands. Everything he did, they were hanging on every motion. Like, every movement. I'm telling you, dude, guy's gonna be a fucking superstar. If he gets the proper booking in the proper circumstances, he just gets it, man. He's got the ability to manipulate a crowd in any which way he pleases. And that is a gift that I don't think can really be taught. You know, you either get it or you don't, or you can kind of learn it from experience. But I don't know if there's any, like, there's no class, there's no lesson you can get on that. He just understands and has this innate charisma to control a crowd. He's phenomenal, man. I'm a big Joe Hendry fan.
You think Joe Hendry's gonna go on to do something big?
I think he's gonna be a special talent. I think he's probably gonna be in TNA for a bit for the foreseeable future, given the fact that they just put the belt on him. But I think at some point within the next couple years, it's realistic to assume he could end up in WWE, and at that point, the sky's the fucking limit. I think Joe Hendry just has that X factor.
Yeah.
That there's certain guys who have the ability to have the entire crowd on the edge of their seat for anything the guy's gonna do, and he's got that for sure. So yeah, I definitely was really impressed with the pay-per-view overall, and yeah, bro, I'm gonna be tuned in to TNA. Shit's crazy. In 2025, I did not think I would be saying that. But that's
TNA.
That's the beautiful state of professional. So this is where I'll leave it. One of the opening lines from one of the commentators, I forget who, I forgive me for forgetting their name, but one of the lines in the opening of the entire pay-per-view that really hit me was like, the dude said, it's a golden age for professional wrestling, and like went into his whole spiel hyping up the show.
Yeah.
But I was like, fuck, like, yeah, man, like this really is a moment where no matter where you look, no matter what promotion you're a fan of, no matter what you like, no matter, like I said, no matter where you look,
there's shit's going on, bro.
There's great shit going on, and it's great to see. As a fan, it's just great to see. So yeah, bro, very happy with the state of wrestling overall.
Professional
The
wrestling.
TNA show was great.